Hey everyone, how's it going? Azrin here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's Learn Gujarati with Me podcast episode and YouTube video. Today we're going to do some listening practice and pair that with a little bit of vocabulary. I'm making this video specifically for one of my private students. The purpose of this video is to help her practice a lot of the words and phrases that came up in our previous conversational lesson. So the first verb that we're going to play around with today is the verb bhanavu. So, and I'll share my screen. I'll write these out for you as well, but we'll start orally just by talking. So the first verb we're going to work with is bhanavu. So bhanavu means like to study. So for example, I could say something like હું અત્યારે કોલેજમાં ભણું છું. હું અત્યારે કોલેજમાં ભણું છું. હું કોલેજમાં IT ભણું છું. હું કોલેજમાં IT ભણું છું. This is not true, but it could be. હું કોલેજમાં IT ભણું છું કે હું કોલેજમાં એન્જિનિયરિંગ ભણું છું. હું languages ભણું છું. હું ભાષાઓ ભણું છું. Let me show you how that word is spelled. You can see it. I'll share my screen here. So the verb we have here is bhanavu. I'll use the Gujarati text as well. Bhanavu. This is to study. Bhanavu. Now, one of the hard letters in this particular word here is this middle letter right now, is this middle letter, ana. Right, so a lot of people really struggle with it. It's really, really normal to struggle with this letter. If you want to just the good news is getting like the gist of it is not too complicated. All you really have to do to get it to sound like decent is say like a normal N, like if I make this an N, like bhanvu, if I make that a regular N, say like bhanvu, but all you're gonna do is it just feels awkward. You're gonna flip your tongue like this. Look at my tongue. You're gonna flip your tongue. It looks like this in your mouth. So this is the tongue, right? You're gonna flip it like upside down, like you're gonna point it towards the back of your throat. Right? Like, really almost like the bottom, this part of your tongue here. Wait, let me go actually with this one here. That part of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. So like really it requires some focus. You focus really intentionally and you put that part of your tongue on your mouth. So this part here, like that. So you're gonna put that on the roof of your mouth. So it's like your tongue should feel a stretch because it really is the bottom of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth. You should feel this part of your tongue here, like the tip should be folded. It should actually be like that. You see when I pinch my tongue? You see how I fold? I know it's uncomfortable to look inside someone's mouth, but like it's for educational purposes. Like if you see how my tongue's folded, you actually fold your tongue in your mouth like that. You have to fold it, and then you say an N from that position. So you flick it forward a bit, like you kind of like it's folded like this, and then it flicks. Like it flicks like that, but then it's folded back. So then you get the tip of the tongue that does this kind of like weird flipping motion. And that gives you that ana sound. It gives you that right sound. To get it like 90% correct, all you really have to think of doing, like, and that 90% correct is already like amazing for people. Like that's already like really good pronunciation. So to get it like 90% correct, all you have to do is fold your tongue, like on the roof of your mouth, fold it like that, but on the roof of your mouth, don't use your finger, on the roof of your mouth, fold it, and just say an N sound, like na 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 na, but do it with the folded tongue, la 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 la, and then that gives you like 90% of the correct sound already. So anyway, so back to the verb. So the verb is bhanavu. I'll type it one more time. Bhana bhanavu. Oops, bhanavu. With that funny little N in the middle, bhanavu. Okay. And this means to study, bhanavu. So hu in the simple present tense, really easy. Hu bhanu chu. Hu bhanu chu. We can change the Gujarati as well. Hu bhanu chu. Right? So hu bhanu chu, like this. We can have a who is here as well, obviously. Who, and of here as well, of course. Who bhanu chu. Now we can play with this verb a little bit. So I'll do a couple examples. Who bhanu chu, that's I'm studying now. What if I was studying? Like this particular verb, in most cases, most of the time, you're going to use it. If you use it in the past tense, you're going to use it in the imperfect past tense. The imperfect past tense is used for anything that happened in the past that happened more than once. Like you did it a bunch of times, like repeatedly or over and over, or like it's usually that kind of a thing. And so in the imperfect past, it's going to become hu bhan ti ha ti. Hu bhanati hati. Hu bhan ti. Oops. Just like that. Hu bhanati hati. And this is the feminine variant. This is for feminine. So my student is she's a woman, and so this is what she would say. Hu bhanati hati. If you are a man, you would say hum bhanato hato with an o at the end. Hum bhanato hato. So, for example, I'll pretend to be my student. I could say, for example, हूँ college ma IT bhanti thi. I was studying IT in college. हूँ software engineering bhanti thi. I was studying software engineering. हूँ Spanish bhanti thi. I was studying Spanish. हूँ bhanti thi. Right? If we go to like a nice, we can do this for like all sorts of people, like even like he or she, a college ma bhanati. She was studying in college, or a college ma bhanatoto. He was studying. He was studying in college. You'll notice on the pronunciation front, we're going to say bhanati, right? Bhanati. We drop that ha, which is very, very, very common with the word hati. Very frequently, we're going to drop this ha sound very, very often. Okay, so that's that first verb, and hope that one really feels a lot more solid and clear. And the pronunciation of that letter, I know I know it's like a really, really tricky letter. Now the next one we'll do here is motu thavu. So usually the way this will sound is something like I would say, for example, hu Canada ma moto thayo. Hu Canada ma moto thayo. Hu Canada ma moto thayo. This means I grew up in Canada. Moto thayo is the masculine variant. If I were a woman, I would say hu Canada ma moti thai. Hu Canada ma moti thai. So moti thai, moto thayo. Moti thai, feminine. Moto thayo, masculine. I'll share my screen in a second, and we'll go through it together. But I'll give you a couple more sentences first. So I could say like hu New York ma moti thai. I grew up in New York. हूँ बॉस्टन में मोटी थई हूँ इंडिया में मोटी थई और हूँ इंडिया में मोटो थयो masculine मोटी थई would be feminine. So let's try the following. You tell me. So think this through, okay? How would you ask someone, where did you grow up? Think about that. Like pause the video and like take a second, think about it. How would you ask someone, where did you grow up? There's two ways to actually three ways to say it depending on gender and formality. So give it a try. Pause the video, think about it. Okay, let's go through it together. So we have three different choices. If you're asking someone, where did you grow up? Option one, we could say, let me get my little text box guy. Perfect. Tame kya mota haya. Tame kya mota thaya. Tame kya mota thaya. Right? Now, if we're gonna this would be the formal. If we're gonna make it informal, tu kya moto thayo. This would be masculine. So this is if you're talking to me, for example, informally. If you're talking to my twin sister who doesn't exist, but I got a twin sister named whatever. Whatever, give her whatever name you want. Okay, it'll be tu kya moti thai. Tu kya moti thai. And that's feminine. So this first one here is like more formal, right? This is formal. The second one is masculine. The third one is feminine. So tame kya mota thaya. Mota, moto, moti. These all mean like big. That's what that means. Thaya, thayo, thai. These mean like became. So where did you become big? Where did you become big? Tame kya mota thaya, right? And you would say, for example, oops, not tu, Canada ma moto thayo, or US ma moti thai, India ma moto thayo, Japan ma moti thai, masculine or feminine. So let's do a little practice here. Let's string these together. Let's really drill. Let's really get all the words from today, and let's really like drill them deep into the brain. Let's focus on doing that. Sometimes you like hear words, you learn words, and you're like, and like you hear them once, but they don't stick. Let's like really spend time on our words today, and like let's like really get them like drilled in. So I'll kind of tell you a random fictional story, mini story, and I'm going to use some of the words that we've learned today. Okay. મારું નામ રાજ છે. મારું નામ એઝરન નથી. મારું નામ રાજ છે. ને રાજ હું almost referred to my fictional character in the third person, but I'm Raj now. So I'm Raj. Okay. ને હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટો થયો. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટો થયો. પણ હું yeah, let's do this. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટો થયો ને અત્યારે હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં કામ કરું છું. હું અત્યારે ન્યુયોર્કમાં કામ કરું છું. પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં ભણતો હતો. So, my name is Raj. I live in New York. Right now, I work in New York. But before, I was studying in Boston. I'll do the same story, but let's do it with the feminine, in the feminine, so you can hear that as well. I used to know someone who's like a voice. I think she was a voice actor, and when she would do this, she's a teacher. When she would do this kind of activity, she would actually do different voices. She was my teacher, my Chinese teacher, Mandarin. I was like so impressed. She would like do these things, and she would do like real voices. I was like, holy moly, it was very cool. I don't have that talent, so you get to hear the same voice twice. Whatever. So I could say in the feminine, if I was a woman, I could say મારું નામ whatever શિલ્પા છે ને હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટી થઈ. અત્યારે હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં કામ કરું છું. પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં ભણતી હતી. Right? All right, let's expand this out. So one of the most basic 101 things you could say in Gujarati would be if you're talking about your job. You can say, I am a teacher, I am a lawyer, I am an engineer, I am a whatever. I am a this, right? And so these are very simple sentences. In Gujarati, this is a very, very simple sentence. You would simply say, હું engineer છું, હું manager છું, હું શિક્ષક છું, હું વકીલ છું, હું whatever you are, હું something છું. Easy peasy. This is like something you might learn in your first couple of weeks of Gujarati. It's a very straightforward, kind of a simple sentence. But if you wanted to level it up, you want to level up your Gujarati, there's a way you can level it up that sounds a little bit more, just level it up, I suppose. I don't know really how else to put that. And that would be, હું blah 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 તરીકે કામ કરું છું. હું blah 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 તરીકે કામ કરું છું. For example, let's go back to the software and let's go in the feminine one more time. And let's go back to this fictional person named Shilpa, who was born in New York, lives there now, works in New York, studied in Boston, right? We have this fictional person. So we could say, for example, મારું નામ શિલ્પા છે. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટી થઈ ને હું અત્યારે ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું. I live in New York. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું. પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં ભણતી હતી. હું બોસ્ટનમાં ભણતી હતી. I was studying in Boston. ને હું બોસ્ટનમાં શું ભણતી હતી? What was I studying? હું શું ભણતી હતી? હું હું સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયરિંગ ભણતી હતી કોલેજમાં. ને હવે, listen carefully, ને હવે હું સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું. હું સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું. So I'm born in New York. I grew up here, but then I studied in Boston. Now I'm back in New York and I work as a software engineer. Let me write the word tariqa for you on my screen so you can see how it's spelled. Here we go. So for example, if you're a software engineer, for example, you might say, I'm going to write SE for that. Hun software engineer tariqe કામ કરું છું. હું software engineer તરીકે કામ કરું છું. The word તરીકે, I'll write in the Gujarati script as well for those that can read it. તરીકે. And I actually don't remember which way the E goes, if it's તરીકે like this, or if it's તરીકે like this. Ooh, you know, that looks really funny to me. This looks wrong. That looks wrong. This one looks right. તરીકે, like that. So, હું software engineer તરીકે કામ કરું છું. Cool, really cool, right? You kind of like you're building out little personal character of yours. So you could use this for yourself. Think about you like kind of building out think about you like yourself, like, okay, I live here, I studied here, now I work here, right? I grew up over here, right? Um and let's kind of keep this going. Let's like build out this fictional character, right? So let's use the word like ajkal. Ajkal is a great word we can use to build out this little character we're building. So you could say, for example, ajkal. Ajkal means like nowadays or recently. So I could say, હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટી થઈ. I'll switch back to masculine. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટો થયો ને અત્યારે હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું. હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું. પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં રહેતો હતો. હું બોસ્ટનમાં રહેતો હતો. I lived in Boston. None of this is true, by the way. I'm just making this up. હું બોસ્ટનમાં રહેતો હતો. ને બોસ્ટનમાં હું ભણતો હતો. I was studying. આજકાલ હું કામ કરું છું. હું સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું. ને હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું. ને હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું. આજકાલ હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું. આજકાલ હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ એક સેકન્ડ. પ્રવૃત્તિઓ, there we go. પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું. Let me share my screen and show you how I'd write that and what all that means. Okay, so આજકાલ is a kind of a fun word because like આજે means today, kale means either yesterday or tomorrow. So you're like sticking these aje kale together in a way. Oh, hang on. There we go. Yes. Yeah, you're putting together aje and kale in a way. You're putting those together to mean like recently or nowadays. Right? So ajkal. Let's write it in Gujarati script as well. Ajkal. And this means like recently. Recently. Or nowadays. Nowadays or recently. So ajkal, હું ઘણી. This has that ana sound in it. Ghani. The one where we fold our tongue backwards. Badhi. Ghani badhi. Ghani badhi means like just like it's kind of the same as ghani, same meaning, but ghani badhi is like a whole bunch. It's almost more than just ghani on its own. Ghani badhi pravruttio karu chu. What does this mean? So pravrutyo is activities. Pravrutyo. So હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ આજકાલ હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું. Recently, I've been doing a lot of activities. So let's practice all this again. Let me like tell you my little fictional story again. So and I'll switch back to let's make it in the feminine again so you can hear both sides. તો હાય બધા મારું નામ છે શિલ્પા ને હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટી થઈ અત્યારે હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું ન્યુયોર્કમાં કામ કરું છું હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં રહેતી હતી હું પહેલા બોસ્ટનમાં સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયરિંગ ભણતી હતી ને આજકાલ હું બહુ આજકાલ હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું બહુ વ્યસ્ત વ્યસ્ત એટલે શું વ્યસ્ત એટલે busy હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું. One more time. Listen one more time. Let's really like get all these words like deeply ingrained in our minds. So we have hi badha, hi everyone. Hi badha, maru naam che or hi mitro. Let's do mitro. Hi friend. I like that more. Hi mitro, kem cho? Maru naam che Shilpa. Hi everyone, my name's Shilpa. This is very fun for me to put on a new character. Anyway, hi badha, maru naam che Shilpa ne હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં મોટી થઈ અત્યારે હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું ને ન્યુયોર્કમાં કામ કરું છું હું ન્યુયોર્કમાં સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયર તરીકે કામ કરું છું પણ પહેલા હું બોસ્ટનમાં ભણતી હતી હું બોસ્ટનમાં સોફ્ટવેર એન્જિનિયરિંગ કોલેજમાં ભણતી હતી ને આજકાલ હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું આજકાલ હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું હું બહુ બિઝી છું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું બહુ વ્યસ્ત 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 બિઝી 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 હું બહુ વ્યસ્ત છું હું ઘણી બધી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું હું ઘણી બધી ઘણી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું બહુ પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું હું હાઇકિંગ કરું છું હું ફરવા જાઉં છું બીજા દેશમાં બીજા શહેરમાં ફરવા જાઉં છું હું ઘણી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું ઘણી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરું છું ને let's kind of do like one yeah, let's kind of do couple more words here. મને so fictional person here, let's keep going. મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે હા મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે ને મને ને yeah, let's just leave that there. મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે. What is પ્રાણી? Prani is animals or animal or animals. મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે. મને ગાય ગમે છે. મને કૂતરા ગમે છે. બિલાડી ગમે છે. મને પ્રાણી બહુ ગમે છે. હા, બહુ ગમે છે. All right, last one we'll do today. Let me look at my notes here. I've got some notes on my computer. I feel good about what we got done. There's more stuff we could do, but I think I feel really good about this. Yeah, I feel really good about this. Let's just like stop that right there. All right. I'll just throw in one last random word. We're not going to practice it very much, but it's like a random word because we did prani. Do you guys know how to say pet in Gujarati? Like if you own a pet dog, for instance, you would say paltu prani. Paltu prani. Paltu prani. Yeah, just PALTU, paltu. Paltu prani. Easy peasy. All right, I think it's a good place. I'm looking at my notes. I think this is a good place to wrap up today's little lesson. I'd like to do more, but I feel good about this. All right, outro. Bye.